Hey everybody, welcome back to the Toon YouTube channel. This is me, it's me. Okay, here I am with my Friday doubleheader. First, okay, we're going to start off with Impact. Here's my Impact recap. Decent to solid show overall. There were only 4 matches on the show. 3 of them were Bound for Glory Series matches, which I thought were all good. And we had a Knockouts match for the Knockouts title, which was a decent match. And that match also had the debut of a former WWE Diva who I didn't even recognize until I read who she was. And not really much of a debut there. We had the continuation of Aces and Eights, and we had a lot of, we had Hulk Hogan talking to Sting on the phone. Hulk Hogan will be making his return next week, brother, for Open Fight Night, the Gut Check. So Hulk Hogan will be back for the Open Fight Night when the Hulkster and the Stinger call out Aces and Eights and go old school. It'll be showtime. Woo! Alright, so, well, with that out of the way, alright, let's start with how the show started. Show started, Austin Aries came out. He said that, ever since he became world champion, he's had to listen to Bobby Roode and countless others constantly call him a fluke. He says he heard it so often, he was starting to believe it himself. Then he says when he beat Roode for the second time at Hardcore Justice, he erased all doubts of flukiness in not only his mind, but the fans and Bobby Roode's also, I believe he said. Then he says that the face of TNA is, he is the face of TNA going forward, and no one will tell him how to think, what to do, and blah blah blah. So he says that he tells Aces and Eights that TNA will not be held hostage as long as he's champion or whatever. And he talks about the BFG series and saying how that's coming to an end. And he says no matter who's behind Aces and Eights and no matter who wins the Bound for Glory series, he'll walk out of Bound for Glory as the TNA World Champion. Then out comes Jeff Hardy, and Aries says that, oh yeah, he must have something really important to say if he came, he wants to say if he came out. And Jeff says that he congratulates Austin Aries on being champion, blah blah blah. And Jeff says that he's going to win the Bound for Glory series, and he and Austin Aries will tear it up with their match. And Aries says, oh yeah, if you win the series, we'll definitely tear the house down, or whatever. So and then Jeff Hardy mentions that Aces and Eights cost him 20 points at Hardcore Justice when they attacked him, and then Bully Ray put him through the table. And then Jeff calls Aces and Eights out. Then Bully Ray comes to the ring. And he says that Jeff, you're really stupid. He says, I'll say this real slow. James Storm is behind the Aces and Eights. And then he says that he always knew that Matt was smarter than Jeff, but even it's like Jeff was even dumber than he thought or whatever. I don't remember what he said. It was something like that. Either way, he says that when Aces and Eights hit the ring at the pay-per-view, they attacked him because James Storm super kicked him in the jaw. And then he says a little bit later on in the match, Jeff had Storm in a compromising position, and he had him beat, he had him ready to put him through the table. And then Ray says that he got lucky. Ray says that he himself got lucky when he put Jeff Hardy through the table. And pretty much, Bubba says that he'll go on to Bound for Glory to become the TNA champion also. Then Austin Aries says about, he's Bubba's Kev, he's saying, okay, Kevzilla, blah blah blah, and then he mentions that, Austin Aries mentions that he made Bubba Ray tap a few months back. And then Aries says that maybe Bully Ray is the guy behind Aces and Eights. And Aries says that, it's like, he's been doing things that people have told him are impossible. And then Ray still insists that Storm is the guy behind the playing card stable. And then Aries says that no matter who's behind it, and again he says no matter who is the leader of the playing cards, and no matter who wins the BFG series, they're gonna have to go through him. Then Aces and Eight guys show up on the Tron, and one of the guys says that tonight they'll make their presence felt in a very big way. I thought it was a good promo to start the show. Having Aries, Jeff Hardy, and Bully Ray, pretty much, not only also in addition to looking for the world title, also, it's like kind of, not really getting along with each other, but being united against this group of playing card characters. So then they show a video package recapping the Bound for Glory series matches from Hardcore Justice. Did a good job with that. Then Magnus is backstage, and the camera guy asks him if he's ready for this match, and Magnus with Samoa Joe. Magnus says he's been ready for this match with Samoa Joe since before they both came to TNA. He says that he knows everything about Joe. Joe knows everything about him, and he says that he not only knows Samoa Joe the wrestler, he knows Samoa Joe the man, and tonight he'll get inside his head. Good promo from Magnus. Then we get to Magnus and Samoa Joe in the Bound for Glory series match. Good back and forth match here. Samoa Joe got the Mighty Style Cradle, I believe, for the pin and gets 7 more points in the series. It was a good match. And so then afterwards, Magnus is kind of sitting on the canvas, and he's like, all pissed that he didn't win. And then Samoa Joe offers to shake his hand or whatever, and then eventually he just pats him on the shoulder, and then that pisses off Magnus. And so then after Joe walks out the ring, Magnus goes out, gets a chair, and goes to hit Joe with it, and Joe blocked he blocked the shot and got hit in the chair with the arm. A good segment, I don't know why they're doing the Magnus heel turn, but a series of Magnus Joe matches that could be good. I thought they were really good as a team. They actually won some tag titles over in Japan just recently, so they're a team over there. In fact, Magnus even acknowledged that on the streaming during the commercial breaks. It was either on the streaming or it was during the post-game show on this, on the online streaming. So then Madison Rayne says that she beat Brooke Tessmacher on her own, and then some guy comes by or whatever and says that Brooke Hogan wants to see her in the ring, and Madison thinks, oh, this wasn't for a celebration, she wants a chocolate cake or whatever. So then Madison Rayne comes to the ring. She says that Brooke Hogan made a special request to see her. She says the Queen Divas regained her throne. She says thanks to her girl Brooke Hogan, blah blah blah. And then she says that behind every woman stands a strong referee, and she says she wouldn't be Knockouts champion right now if it weren't for Earl, always unconscious all the time, Hebner. So she has him come to the ring, and then she hugs him or whatever, and then Brooke Hogan comes out and she says this is the kind of stuff that she was talking about Earl Hebner being the screw job ref or whatever, and she says that Brooke Hogan says that she's known Earl her whole life. And she tells him that he won't be refereeing any more Knockouts matches. Madison gets all in a fit about it, and then Brooke Hogan says that Brooke Tessmacher has a rematch for the Knockouts title against Madison later tonight. So then, and Brooke says that there will be a special referee, and that referee was far from special. So then Madison says that Brooke is using the Hogan name, which hey, can't argue with that line. So then she tells Brooke to come in the ring and make these new changes to her face or whatever. So then Brooke hits the ring, Madison and Earl bail. And then, then a couple of aces and eights guys come, slide in the ring behind Brooke. They back her into the corner. Then out come Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle, and they run the two guys off. And then James Storm came out on the ramp too, and and Aces and Eights were already out of there by then, so he came out after they bailed. I thought that the segment with Madison, the Madison thing was a little on the weak side. I'm not really into Brooke Hogan as an on-air performer, and the whole thing with Earl Hebner and Madison Rayne was just, it was just really idiotic. I said the only part about it is, it's just like, Madison saying that Brooke was using the Hogan name. I thought that was a good line. But the other thing is, it's like, how come Brooke is yanking Earl Hebner from refereeing Madison's matches after she, lost, after Hebner refereed 3 of her matches already, where she lost 2, but he decided she won anyway, and then she got the roll up and hook the ropes to get the win, and then Hebner didn't see it playing on the. Oh man, I'm just getting confused here. I was like, why not yank Hebner from refereeing Madison's matches before the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view instead of after? One of the logic gaps there. So we get back to the show. Sting's in the ring with Ray, Angle, Jeff Hardy, and Austin Aries, and James Storm also. Then Sting says that he's learned a lot about aces and eights. Character. He learns about the character. He says that they stepped over the line. They put their words into actions, and they got in Brooke Hogan's face. So he says tonight, TNA has their own pack also. Everyone was in the ring. He says the next week is Open Fight Night, and he tells Aces and Eights to bring it next week. I saw the promo from Sting, I thought there. Then we get Kazarian and Daniels backstage. Daniels is holding some kind of comic book with the two of them drawn on the back of it, or whatever. And then Kazarian brings up AJ and everything, still denying everything with Brock O'Clair. And then so then AJ comes by and he says that he had to been drugged to slept with Claire. And then we get to another idiotic bit here. Because AJ and Daniels are going to be in a Battle for Glory Series match right after this. So AJ offers Daniels, says to Daniels that if Daniels beats him, he'll accept that he's the dad. But if AJ says if he wins, he wants to get a freaking paternity test. That's stupid. This is like, I am way past sick of this storyline by now, and just end it. It's like, why the hell would AJ Styles go along with being dad of someone who doesn't even remember if he knocked up or not, just because he loses a fucking match? I mean, come on. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't know if I'm the dad or not, but I'll just accept that I am if I lose this match. Yeah, okay, whatever. That didn't make any sense. So then we get AJ Daniels. Kazarian comes out to ringside too, of course. And before the match starts, referee Brian Hebner sends Kazarian to the back. So then we get AJ versus Daniels Bound for Glory match. Bound for Glory Series match. AJ Styles got the pin, so he'll be getting the opportunity test. Oh boy! So originally, what happened was Kazarian was actually hiding outside the ring, under the ring, and Daniels was outside, and he got up, and then AJ went to suplex Daniels back into the ring. Kazarian grabbed AJ's leg. Daniels fell on top of AJ. Kazarian held AJ's leg. Referee counted 3. But then afterwards, the referee saw that Kazarian was holding on to AJ's leg, and he restarted the match. And then AJ gave Daniels the Styles. Then he gave him the Pele kick and got the 3 count. And then afterwards, he gave Daniels the Styles Clash. So it was a good match, despite the shenanigans and the crappy ass storyline that they have here going like this. So then backstage, Sting is in the GM office on the phone with Hulk Hogan, and Hulk says that he'll be at Impact next week. He says he's not ready to fight, but he pretty much says he has to. And Sting says, okay, Hulk says, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go old school. And Sting says it's showtime. Woo! Okay, whatever. Then backstage, James Storm's in the locker room. Jeff Hardy comes to him and he says he doesn't care what people are saying. He cares about what he does care about is the aces and eights costing him 20 points at Hardcore Justice, and he says that the Aces and Eights guys helped out Storm twice now. And then he gets skeptical of Storm too about being behind this clan. And James Storm says he's tired of everyone accusing him of being behind this freaking stable, and he's surprised that Jeff would think he's leading it too. Then Storm says that he'll be at ringside for the Jeff Hardy Bully Ray Bound for Glory Series match, just to make sure the Aces and Eights guys don't show up. So then they have a video package recapping the Austin Aries Bobby Roode match from Hardcore Justice, and that was a good match too. Actually, not as bad as not necessarily quite as good as the Destination X match, but it was still a good match. So then Bobby Roode comes out and he says that at Hardcore Justice he had an opportunity to come out and right the wrong and prove to the world that what he'd been saying was true, that Austin Aries' win over him was a fluke. And he says that he did prove that Aries is a fluke because he beat Aries in the middle of the ring when the assigned referee for the match, who was Brian Hebner, counted 3 and raised his hand with the double suplex and the shoulders down. But both guys kicked up before 3 anyway. So he says that he mentions that but instead of that happening, Earl Hebner came out and restarted the match that he'd already won, and because of that, Roode is standing in the ring tonight empty-handed. And he says that he should be standing in the ring as the world champion. And he mentions that while Austin Aries is champion, Rude does not get another rematch, because the stip of that match was the loser doesn't get a rematch for the belt while the other one's holding it. Then he says that being world champion meant everything to him. It was his life and everything. And he says that when people think of world champion, they think Bobby Roode. When they think Bobby Roode, they think world champion. And he said that he'd had a chance to look in the mirror and realize there's one person to blame for this. Actually, it was more than one, but naturally, of course, he blamed Austin Aries, Sting, the referees, and he blamed the fans. So then he says that he tells the fans that he gives everything. He always goes out there and gives everything that he has, but the fans disrespect him, and they call him a loser. The fans were chanting that. And then he says that he's faced with the question of what he's going to do now that he can't challenge for the TNA World Title now, right? Anymore. So and then he keeps saying, I'm gonna, and he has a hard time figuring out what he's gonna do, and then he just drops the mic and walks out of the ring. I thought this was good. I thought Roode had a good promo here. He was really good at doing the whole, something it's like that. It's like, oh my god, it's like he's not, he did the whole, oh my god, I'm not gonna get another title shot, and you're on the blame for it. But he could do that well. He's a good heel. So then they show a video package for the next gut check contestant, who for some reason they never even said what his name was. But he talks about his background growing up in a crappy area in Mississippi. He mentions that his brother was shot and didn't make it, and he said that he's dedicating his career to his brother because his brother was a huge wrestling fan. And he says that there's a lot riding for him on the gut check, and he's got a huge family or whatever. It was a good segment, but I don't know why they never mentioned this guy's name. But I thought this was a solid story. I mean, I thought it was a good vignette there. So before the next, time for the Knockouts title match, Brooke Tessmacher versus newly crowned champion for the fourth time, Madison Rayne. Before the match starts, Brooke Hogan comes out and introduces the female guest referee, and out comes Taryn Terrell, aka the former Tiffany from WWE. The one that caused Drew McIntyre to be on the island of jobbers. So anyway, that was a very underwhelming, because throughout the streaming during the commercial breaks, JP said, it was like, hey, we have a big debut surprise tonight, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this was a surprise? Some random blonde diva who just, came from WWE, who lost her fucking mind at the Playboy Mansion, and then was eventually released and caused her then husband to be exiled to Jobberville, to Jobman Island. It was a strange way to debut someone as a referee, and like I say, I didn't recognize who the frickin' hell she was till I read it, because I didn't know her real name. So we get the match. Brooke Tessmacher regains the belt. She gets the pin. Decent match, it's like Madison throughout the match kept trying to cheat, putting her feet on the ropes and doing this and that, and Tiffany Terrell caught her, triple T there. She caught her every time, so then eventually Madison argued with her, and then Brooke gave Madison her finisher, which was some kind of like face plant or whatever, and 1, 2, 3, she regains the title. So Madison Rayne only had the Knockouts title for 4 days. I don't know why the hell they took it off Brooke in the first place. So then we get to Aces and Eights backstage. The guy says that Sting invited, this is the invitation that they've been waiting for, but Sting called him out. And he says that Sting had better watch what he asks for, because they'll be there next week in full force. Then another guy says, hey, we got some unfinished business tonight. He's like, yeah, we do. Alright, that was okay. So then we get Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray in a Bound for Glory Series match, final match of the night. Jeff Hardy got the pin, so he's got 7 more points. Total series. What happens here, 2 Aces and 8s guys actually hit the ring. Before they could do anything, out came Austin Aries, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, and Sting. They came out and they run the Aces and 8s guys off. Bubba Ray was distracted by all that, and then Jeff got the roll up for the pin. I thought it was a good match though. I thought the match was good though. And then afterwards, Ray nailed Jeff. I forget if he clotheslined him or whatever. And then Ray gets his chain, and James Storm was watching. I forget if he was watching from right at ringside, and Bubba got his chain and was yelling at Storm, and then Storm got in the ring, and Ray had his chain, but then he and Ray argued, and then Jeff Hardy was in there, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, James Storm hits Jeff Hardy with the last call super kick. Then Ray walks out. Then Bubba Ray walks out. You wind back up the ramp for back. Then Storm is standing there in the ring. The Aces and Eights guys come in, stand behind Storm, and they applaud him. They applaud Storm. But then, shocker of shockers, I don't think so, they attack James Storm. So they stomp on James Storm. They pummel him down in the ring, and that ended the show. With the question of, if James Storm brought the home Aces and Eights, then who is? Gee, I don't know. Maybe Jeff Jarrett? It's the only thing I can come up with. Although it would be kind of interesting if Bully Ray was the guy behind it and was just trying to swerve everyone by pinning the blame on Storm. So that was the show. The Aces and Eights guys finally attacked James Storm. So like I said, on the whole, I thought the show was a solid, decent episode. It's like, even though there were only 4 matches, the Bound for Glory series matches were good, and the Knockouts match was decent. Bringing in Taryn Terrell, the former Tiffany, what the hell to bring her in for? It's just like, oh hey, look, we got another former WWE person who hasn't been there in 2 fucking years. So who gives a rat's ass? So then, and the Aces and Eights storyline I think has been good so far. Hopefully, I'm hoping that they continue to make it interesting and intriguing going forward. Even the opening, I like the opening segment with Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, and Bully Ray, and then having the Aces and Eights show up on the Tron. I thought they did a good job there. Rude did a good job with his promo too. Magnus turning heel was a bit surprising, but he's good at playing that too. So I don't know. So I'm guessing now if Magnus turned heel on Samoa Joe, then that means maybe, I don't know, at Bound for Glory. I'm guessing maybe Kurt Angle might win the Bound for Glory series, since now apparently they're going to be having Joe versus Magnus. I don't know if they'll have that maybe at Bound for Glory or whatever. And it looks like the AJ Daniels feud is going to continue to Bound for Glory. So they'll have a match. So at Bound for Glory, we might have, I would think we'd have Storm versus Rude. It doesn't need to be for the belts since they had a story already set up there. And Joe versus Magnus, they might do it Bound for Glory. Maybe they'll do it in No Surrender too. I don't know. But and they have AJ versus Daniels, which like this is leading to Bound for Glory. And that leaves either Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, or Kurt Angle. And actually, I think anyone, as far as I can, I think any one of those guys could have a really good to great match with Austin Aries if they have one of them win it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next week on Impact when it's Open Fight Night. So that'll do it for me right now. I'll be right back in a few minutes with my SmackDown recap. So you can check out TonyViz.blogspot.com and read my in-depth recap of the show. And you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube and all that stuff. So, till a few minutes, this is the Tony Viz. I'll be back with SmackDown in a few minutes.